The Unbound gravel race is the off-road world's kind of Tour de France. The pinnacle of dusty gravel racing and hotbed of gravel tech has provided some seriously cool tech this year, which we were all too happy to photograph as we roamed the pits. Let's start with a new gravel group set from SRAM before we get on to new bikes and the latest aero clothing. A new 13-speed SRAM Red AXS XPLR group set appears to have broken cover at the 2024 Unbound gravel race. When SRAM recently launched its flagship Red AXS group set, a gravel variant was curiously omitted. Now Red AXS XPLR has broken cover and it's a radically different product from its road counterpart, boasting a brand new rear derailleur with a hanger incorporated into the derailleur itself. This then mounts directly onto a SRAM UDH dropout. Now, a key detail to my eyes is what's potentially going on inside that derailleur. The road-going Red AXS rear derailleur relies on an orbit fluid damper, but the new derailleur appears to borrow the overload clutch found on T-type transmission rear derailleurs. Given that gravel racing takes in much rougher terrain than a road race, we're not surprised to see this, as it'll simply reduce chain chatter and chain drop. From what we can see, the new gravel group set borrows many of the same components as the Red AXS group set. The shifters, brake calipers and disc brake rotors all appear to be identical. The new crankset though leaves a few unanswered questions. It appears to be one by only and the teeth are presumably orientated to mesh nicely with that chain. Over the weekend, we've seen a few riders using different crankset setups. So Keegan Sweenson's Santa Cruz Stigmata had a 1x-aero chainring with an integrated power meter. Others though, well, they used the existing 12-speed Red 1 crankset with a non-integrated power meter. So this suggests that there may be some backwards compatibility between the new 13-speed components and the existing 12-speed chainrings. I reckon we'll see SRAM release a new crankset with updated graphics and tooth profiles though, as every new group set needs a crankset. A big question that remains for me though is whether SRAM is going to switch to 13-speed across their other group sets. It would be super cool to see, but I think the reality is a way off. T-type transmission is only the best part of what, a year old? And the new 12-speed Red AXS is just under 3 weeks old, so it wouldn't make sense for SRAM to supersede a product so soon into its life cycle. Right, what about those new bikes? This season, Trek rider Russell Finsterwald has piloted what looks like the next checkpoint. Up front there's an integrated bar stem combo with plenty of flair in the drops. The frame lines appear to borrow from the Domain road bike, and there's the addition of a UDH hanger. The vibration damping ISO speed decoupler located at the junction of the top tube and the seat tube, well, that appears to carry over too. Ridley athletes Peter Havoc, Annabelle Fisher and Toby Perry were spotted riding a likely successor to the Ridley Canzo Fast. We can't glean much from the images that we saw, but it appears to receive plenty of aero tube shapes, possibly borrowed or at least informed by the brand's Falcon RS Aero road bike. Havoc's tyre clearance isn't visible for all of the dust, but clearance appears to be improved over the previous generation. Giant rider Brendan Johnston raced aboard what looks to be the next iteration of Giant's gravel bike, the Revolt. Details are again rather scarce, but it appears that it's on trend with an aero handlebar, internal routing from the bar to the frame, down tube storage and a very compliant seat post. It'll be very interesting to see what the tyre clearance is though, because those tyres look properly fat to me. Allied graced us with 2 new bikes, oh yes. The new frames look long and very, very slack, with tyre clearance that eclipses anything the company currently offers. Now the US brand's gravel bike, the Able, which took the win in the men's and women's Unbound 200 in 2019, has an elevated drive side chainstay for improved tyre clearance, but it maxes out at 43mm in the rear. So these new bikes are something else entirely. The chainstays are very low, tucking the rear wheel in while maximising clearance. One bike ran SRAM's Unreleased 13-speed gravel drivetrain. However, Allied rider Tyler Ledeen is a Shimano athlete and ran the brand's new 2x12 GRX Di2 kit, opting for narrower Vittoria treads, which could be a choice dictated by front derailleur compatibility. Given Allied's in-house manufacturing capabilities, it's also possible that these are 2 very different prototypes. Rafa's Bolero suit, that's bladder aero skin suit to you and me, made its debut at Unbound. The notion of an aero skin suit with a sleeve for an integrated 2-litre hydration bladder might have sounded like a bit of an April Fool's a few years ago, but the proof was in the podium as Lachlan Mawson wore it to a first place finish. According to Rafa, the Bolero suit won't be available to purchase in the near term. However, they will develop the concept with plans to launch a consumer-ready version down the road some way. Clothing company Rule 28 has also developed a similar skin suit with an integrated 1.5-litre bladder, which apparently improved aerodynamics in the wind tunnel. And if a full skin suit isn't your thing, Castelli has launched its hydration-ready Unlimited Pro jersey, which also features a hydration sleeve. I guess that makes hydration backpacks like so last year now. It was also pretty hilarious to see each brand launch their thing and pretend that it was like the only one available. Gravel tyres have seemingly got bigger again this year. Unbound 200 winner Lachlan Mawson sped to victory on the largest Vittoria tyres he could squeeze into his Cannondale Super 6 Evo CX. Up front he ran a 50mm Terreno Dry, bringing up the rear was a 44mm Mezcal. Despite the extra heft of these tyres, Mawson set a new course record of 9 hours, 11 minutes and 47 seconds.
45mm Continental Terra Speed tyres didn't stop eventual women's winner Rosa Klose from suffering a front wheel puncture after about 200 kilometers, but the German PhD student showed the benefits of running tyre inserts as she was able to nurse the slashed tyre around 30 kilometers to the feed zone. Despite the crash caused by the puncture, Klose surprised everyone by catching the leaders and winning a 9-up sprint aboard her Rose Backroad.
The 2023 men's winner, Keegan Sweenson, went big, running 45mm Maxxis Reavers. Tread pattern is also pivotal, though there is a school of thought that if the gravel is large and loose, the minimal tread of most gravel tyres won't actually provide much traction anyway. For example, former Unbound champion Ted King ran 44mm road slicks. But if in doubt, just go super wide. Payson McKelveen ran 29-inch by 2.25-inch Maxxis Aspen ST tyres. These are true cross-country race tyres, and his 8th place finish proved their worth. But what was the most popular gravel tyre at this year's Unbound? Specialized Pathfinder still appears to be the fan favourite. Well, I don't know about you, but I absolutely loved the racing this year, and I loved the tech even more. Now, if you like your gravel race tech, why not click up here and check out all of our tracker videos from this year. And you know the job to wrap up. Like, comment, and subscribe.